Welcome back to part 2 of our week 5 screencast. We are currently doing a peer review of another group's introduction, and I was asking you to look through each of the sections and subsections of that other group's introduction, which you downloaded off of this discussion board on course site, and circle and label the subsections of each of those sections, and then summarize, although the last thing you did was write or copy, but mostly summarize in your own words what that group was trying to say. So the final section of the introduction that I asked you to write was the significance of the program or project section. And I'd like for you to again circle and label the section that tells why the funder cares. Let me get my pen going. So why the funder cares about the proposed program or project. One of the things that I have continually asked you to do, and that your handy book, wherever it is, here it is, that your handy book suggests, is that you have to constantly link what you're doing back to the mission and goals of the grant maker, of the funder. And so they need to care about the program. They need to, I'm going to sneeze, got a little cold, I'm going to sneeze again. Anyway. And then I'd like for you to write a 1 to 2 sentence summary in your own words of the reasons given for the funder caring. Why should the funder care? Be explicit about it. Say, this aligns with your mission to blah, whatever it is. Well, you can be that direct. You want to make it so that you're not yelling at the funder, but you're looking in the introduction that you're reviewing for some sort of a statement that tells why the funder cares. I'd like for you to next, in that same last section of your introduction, or the introduction you're reviewing, to look at where they explicitly match the proposed program or project to the funder's mission or goals, which may overlap with the why the funder cares section. That's great. But it should be an even more specific part. And then write in a 1 to 2 sentence. In other words, explicitly stating how the proposed program or project matches what the funder is trying to achieve on a large scale. Right? So if it's the Gates Foundation and they're trying to improve the health of disadvantaged communities worldwide, and that's one of their main mission or goal statements, you need to be saying to them, this is how our proposed program project helps eradicate these health problems in disadvantaged populations in this particular part of the world. It's one way to get at the funder's mission or goals. Next, in that same final section, identify a real problem that the proposed program or project solves. And let me just point out that was something that was written in the syllabus. How does it solve a real problem that means something, and to whom? And then summarize it. What is the real problem? So again, just going back to the health group, you've got the enteric and diarrheal, I think, were the two things, problems that the hand washing program and others were addressing, right? So that's a real problem. Be specific. Talk about that real problem. Remember that one of the things that you're asked to do in the needs statement that you prepared for turning in this week was a human interest story. This gives a hook for that. This sets the foundation for that. You've identified, or the group you're reviewing has identified a real problem that then can serve as a foundation for a human interest story. Next, I would like for you to identify the target community. Who are the people that are being served? What is the group or organization that's being served? How is this actually making a difference? And how are they going to benefit from the proposed program or project? And then write a summary of it. Finally, I would like for you to circle and label the section of the significance of the program project that explains the long-term impact. In other words, this should be an investment that lasts a lifetime. This should be an investment that is sustainable. This should be an investment that is locally owned, right? This should be an investment that reproduces itself without a constant influx of money for the next 10 to 15 years, right? You're looking at 1, 2, 3 years of funding that institutionalizes something your program or project, that makes a huge contribution and benefit to the community, that is locally owned and is therefore sustainable, and then write a summary of that. And you have to articulate that in the significance section, right? That is really the big significance, because you're saying this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, this is the need that's there, this is the real world problem that it solves, this is the real world community that it benefits, and this is really how it's going to continue past the initial funding. Whew. Okay. Let me, I know this is hard to see, so let me see if I can adjust this a little bit. There we go. So I'd like for you then to score it, right? Consider the peer review you just conducted. You should have your notes in front of you. You should have the actual introduction that you marked on, circling sections and labeling them, or highlighting sections and labeling them. You should have the piece of paper or the electronic document that you've just summarized all these different sections in, and hopefully you've been good about marking which sections you're summarizing. Now we're simply going through and we're looking at all the sections that you just did, all of the individual sections you just looked at, right? For each of the slides that I just showed you, for example, this one, long-term impact, looky there, long-term impact. Well, it looks like I just marked it out, but you get what I'm doing. Let me erase this, erase the ink. All right, so each of those has a row on this scoring sheet. And what I would like for you to do is I'd like for you to decide whether or not that particular element was not there or only superficially treated, was in the introduction but underdeveloped, in other words, you found it difficult to identify, is in the introduction and explained, so it was there, nothing to complain about, it just didn't blow your socks off, or it's in the introduction and it does a succinct job of anticipating and answering any questions or concerns that a grant maker might have. So you, as the pretend grant maker, who's peer reviewing in this case, can say, did they explain it in a way that I was sold? Okay. So depending on which category it falls in, you're going to circle a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4, and you'll go down this whole scoring sheet until you get to the bottom, circling, maybe, I don't know what it looks like, and hopefully you're not doing this as randomly as I am right now. Oops. But you're going to go through, and then you're going to add it up. 1, 1, 1, that makes 3. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, right? And then add that up. So 24, 39, 42. It's a 42. All right, let me move it down so you can see the bottom. So in my random calculations, I got a 42, which means it's okay. All right. So assign a score for each element of the introduction, total the score, and then I would like for you in that written summary part to discuss for the group that you're reviewing whether the associated rating is appropriate. If they got a 42, be honest with them, right? Communicate that to the group. Hey, look, when I went through this, you guys got a 42, which is okay, but I see a lot of room for improvement, right? And maybe you go back and you say, remember what I said about the relevance section, or remember what I said about matching the outcomes to the need. Those are ways that you could have bumped this bad boy up some more and really made it the best introduction it could be. The grade for each group's introduction is not based on this, the grade that you get for this class. This is a peer review, right? And I know that there's a score involved. It's simply a way for us to articulate what they're doing and how well they're doing it, right? But you want to be able to do this sort of thing on a regular basis with your colleagues in the class, so that when you are doing this in the real world, you understand where the strengths and weaknesses are. And one of the benefits of peer review is that you have the opportunity to this sounds so trite and cliched, but step outside the box. You can get outside of the conversations and the mental mindset that the group that has been putting this introduction together has been living in. And you can say, all right, I'm taking this because I also am aware of what the funders' interests are, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. So be honest, all right? So each group should have a set of several critiques, several peer reviews coming back to them. That will involve, summarizing one more time, a marked up introduction that circles and labels things, a separate sheet that summarizes each of these sections that we've been going through in your own words, and then provides some sort of discussion about whether or not the score they got at the end was an appropriate one, why or why not, and what they might think about to improve. And then it would be great if you could actually also indicate what the exact score was that you gave for each of these sections. Like if you have this, you could print this out. Or you could just say background 1, rationale 2, need 3, relevance 4. Give them a summary on that sheet. And then communicate that back to the group by posting it on the discussion board as a reply to the place where I originally posted all these. Okay? That is the peer review of the introduction. That is something that you can do right now, sitting wherever you are, just using the magic of technology. Okay. I'm going to pause here, and when we come back, we're going to start discussing what do goals and objectives do, and actually tackle some of that as we move forward.